on the third side, then wind it up on the fourth side.
Yesterday, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. This is the Saturday edition. Yeah, it's something like you are still in Spargos, that's so. Yes, well, of course, and that is what I had to enjoy. And of course, that is the things that I revere and look forward to, even though I miss you, of course, and I will always do, and I usually do. But you know, it is said that all play and no work make Jack a dull boy. And the reverse is the case, where all play and no work make Jack a mere toy. So people, we must mix it in other words. That's the point I'm making. So of course, tonight, while of course there might be a sound like if I have a relapse or overlap, but of course I love the soca music, so you will forgive me. And let's play it twice because it is so nice. I'm only Trini, so you'll forgive me.
Begging all you who are new to this, please don't mind nobody business. Don't talk about what you see. Festival is our time to get down and unwind and do the things that we live not normally. People with drinks in hand, some wine it fine like sand. Make sure you understand that you can tell no one what happens in the party. Oh yeah, what happens in the party. Talk to me. Come on. So if you see Sharon wine with Stevie, oh yeah, even though she married. Come on. Sing it out. Hey, hey, hey. If people ask what went on in this fete, act like you're dumb and sing.
Yes, indeed. Well, I know that some of you would be annoyed that I have, of course, short-circuited that particular piece. But, of course, it's serious business. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago. And wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. This is, yes, the Saturday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Yesterday being, of course, the Friday and my Sabbaton. But that being as it may, quite a lot of issues that have arisen. And of course, the number to call, 337-6940. And don't forget, of course, share. I will start back, of course, beseeching, begging, and of course, imploring that people share. Yes, we still have a target of 40,000 a night. And we're hoping, of course, that as the time progresses and that the information becomes even more acute in the sense that it is so relevant that it will become second place and will be a yearning factor in, of course, people's daily diet of inculcating information. It is against that background, therefore, I must, of course, condemn the level of asinine analysis of the statement made at the last post-cabinet brief of the Prime Minister and her cabinet, Kamla Persad-Bissessar. I want to tell you, a person who is doing wrong and believe they are doing right is extremely dangerous. And a person, of course, who does not know and does not know he does not know is equally dangerous. And a person who does not know but pretend that they know is similarly endangering not only him or herself, but the population. What do I mean, and why would I use that prelude to what I have to say? You see, all over social media, and clearly we know where the source is, the fact is that the PNM will benefit from that kind of asinine analysis is not just mind-boggling. It is not just, of course, infinitesimally stupid, but extremely dangerous when people make wild accusations and statements, believing that somehow as they throw these pieces of mortar on the wall, that somehow it will stick spontaneously without any kind of design, any kind of methodology. I'm saying all that to say, when Kamla Persad-Bissessar said that, listen, if there are persons emanating out of Venezuela in the service of the government of Venezuela, and that they have hostile intent, they are going to meet it with equal hostility. What is wrong with that? Well, it could only be wrong if it was said as a standalone statement, but the fact is it was not. It was as a consequence of a series of activities and or statements coming out of Venezuela and associated with Venezuela. Now, I hold no brief. But I would demand that I have the right to analyze, and those who are simply, of course, superficial, those who are superfluous, those who have no good intentions, those who are incapable of analyzing, it is my duty, I believe, to, of course, ensure that the rationality or irrationality and the truth, the veracity of what was said has a certain context. And the context itself must be nestled in what? In truth. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, I must say, couldn't make that statement in a vacuum. It could be as some kind of epiphany out of the air, just out of the air. It could not have been either a eureka moment where a sudden burst of brilliance came over her. No. We know for sure that she is rational. We know for sure that she is consistently so, and we know that she thinks. Unlike, of course, Rowley and, of course, this former Chinese ephemeral prime minister, temporary prime minister, a couple of hours. And of course, always with some kind of what I consider to be sinister intent. And sinister here could also mean to mislead. But not Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Her history has shown that she says what she means and she means what she says. And that it is always nestled in truth. You see, when the email matter came up in the parliament, a total and absolute and unadulterated lie concocted by Rowley and those who were greedy for power at the time before the 2015 general elections. She remained steadfast that she was not aware, as she was not associated with the so-called emails that Rowley concocted and went into the parliament of all places and of course projected to the population that somehow Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her cabinet were conspiring to kill, among other things, a journalist. Let us not waste time. Let us understand what we are dealing with. So the point I am making the case of the consistency of Kamla Persad-Bissessar and when she makes statements. And of course, we have seen over and over that she has been unfairly targeted and persecuted. We saw, of course, the Rowley administration even, of course, concocted manufacturing evidence to, of course, say that Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her previous government, they want to get them in, of course, blue lights and silver bracelets. All that was said. All that was said. And don't tell me I don't know before I play it, about the Vincent Nelson matter. Don't tell me I don't know. Because Rowley was up and down the place talking about, of course, Pamasa, and of course, this fella called Vincent Nelson, who is a UK lawyer, a QC say, and that his integrity, he suggested, could not be questioned. And that was a big fish. Because he went into court and worked out an agreement with the court in order to do what? In order to give evidence for the state against Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen. All of that took place. To cut a long story short, it turned out that all of it was a lie, just as the emails. But very elaborate lies, using, of course, significant public office, the office of the Prime Minister, the office of the Attorney General, and the major, of course, ministerial portfolios that would have been included in all of that. Are talking about, of course, national security, are talking about the police, are talking about the DPP, all of that. And in such circumstance, and with such elaborate conspirators' conduct to, of course, belittle and destroy your political opponent, it turned out to all of that turned out to be boomerang talk. It turned back on them. And just watch at me. You see me pointing at you with my index finger. Well, observe, you do the same right now, and you will see 3 fingers pointing back at you. Be careful of the hole that you dig for others, particularly when it is nefarious, when it is concocted, when it is, of course, designed to do evil and to execute evil. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first set out to deceive. Let me repeat. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first set out to deceive. And that is what Rowley and they were all about. I am laying the foundation, people, because I want to tell you that this so-called imbroglio, this so-called explosive, this so-called media-oriented but the PNM propaganda projected is, of course, exactly that PNM propaganda by, of course, their trolls who will hold on to a dribble, hoping that somehow the UNC Kamla Persad-Bissessar-led coalition of interest government will somehow evaporate, somehow will be floundering. I say that we are solid as a rock. I say that we are constant like the northern star. I say that we are immutable like a scent, can't change. And that is what you will get, in spite of all of that. Yes, it is a democracy. And yes, the people have the right of free speech. But when it turns out to be, of course, propaganda based on somebody because they would have been beaten to the frazzle on the 28th of April last, and are now out of office and are trying all kinds of things. We're going to be talking about, of course, a recent experience that we would have had in terms of the love party in our press conference last Friday. We'll leave that for a little later. But the point I want to make is this, that the Kamla Persad-Bissessar never spoke out of context and was speaking in a particular way, responding, of course, to utterances across the what? The Gulf of Paria. I'm talking about nestled in Venezuela. You see, it was the Interior Minister of Venezuela who said, among other things, that they caught the Trinbagonians, among other Colombians and so on, coming into that part of the country that they held them, according to him, to, of course, undermine the government there. The word that they use is destabilize. Of course, he is oblivious to the fact that Venezuela as a country and the way it has been managed has been destabilizing the entire southern continent or South America, and even extending to Trinidad because of the migration of over 4 to 6 million of the 27 million people that are supposed to be the population of Venezuela. 6 million people. You know that 6 million that end up in Trinidad, we wouldn't have room for them. We already have a problem with 1.5. And we have about 100,000 of them here. They are so ubiquitous. They are, in other words, all over the place. Ubiquitous, all over the place, simultaneously. I say so from the perspective that if you go in Arima, you go in Port of Spain, you go in Port Fortin, you go in Diego Martin, you go, of course, in places that are far and in between, you will see them. Every 4 persons that you see in Port of Spain, you bound to witness that there is, of course, some foreigner among us and speaking Spanish. So that in itself is potential for destabilizing, but we're not going as far as that is concerned because we will get there eventually. But the fact of the matter is that the Interior Minister has said that part of that catch of individuals, Trinidadians, and that, of course, they came from Trinidad. And that he is prepared, Venezuela is prepared to pursue anybody who is attempting to destabilize their country wherever they are. Take note, wherever they are, they're going to pursue. So what Kamla Persad-Bissessar said wrong? She said that if anybody across the Gulf of Paria from Venezuela enter Trinidad and Tobago's waters, pursuing obviously somebody or some person they perceive to be undermining or part of undermining their government, they're going to pursue. And what she said, all she said is that if you do that, if you try that, it will be met with force. With force. That's all. But there's more to it. Before she reached there, there's more to it. Let's go to the line first, of course. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Lennox. Dr. Lennox.
Good night, my friend.
Well, Grandy here.
Yes, man. Long time no hear from.
I want to diverse a little bit.
No problem.
A few years ago, I heard talking about the Me Too movement was coming to see about this thing with the Rowley.
The what?
What happened to the Me Too movement?
Yeah, the Me Too. All right. Okay. Yes.
Was coming to see about the statutory rape.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
What
has
happened?
Well, I did what I had to do. I did communicate with the head of the institution, and I think what it was COVID created some issues, and the movement itself seemed to have taken a low-key approach after, of course, the prosecution and the jailing of people like Bill Cosby, and I think 2 other celebrities. They have of course not wilted away, but certainly they have taken a low key. But as you mentioned that, I will certainly revamp. I will certainly find a way to get in contact with them and see whether or not. But of course, the man that was at the target for me is no longer the Prime Minister, and therefore, of course, while it is right to expose and to of course make him pay for that, I think it's the local courts or the local let's say law enforcement agencies would be the one that preferably will now have to, of course, take up the gauntlet. But you're quite right. I should not relent. I suppose that is what you are indicating to me.
Yeah, well,
and I will not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, now is the correct time to put him in the calaboose.
Yes. I accept that because I did send him a pre-action protocol letter, of course, essentially saying that he has called me a liar, and I wanted to go and prove that, and I would have gotten that. So I think I better do that in truth. And of course, that pre-action letter, protocol letter, is still there. And normally the routine is to send him a second pre-action protocol letter, but I may be minded not to do so and just go straight to court. So we'll see how that pans out. But thank you for reminding me. I would have been lost in all the clutter of the euphoria of the marvelous victory of the UNC and the coalition of interest. Wasn't you who was a bit skeptical of the mass victory when I was talking about 39 all in Trinidad? Yes, I remember. Many said no Smith. Even Andy, my colleague, said no boy, we lucky if we get 21 is enough, and I keep saying 39 in Trinidad. But go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, somebody sent a document from here where he buy a island in Florida Keys.
He what? He bought a
island in the Florida Keys.
In Florida Keys. Well, I will look at that. I will look into that because we have to be careful now with IA. All the ability, the AI, all the ability, artificial intelligence.
I have the document. I will send it to you.
But send it to me, man, and let's see how we can verify. And once it's valid, certainly we are going to take action. All right, my friend. Yes.
Well, good night, everybody, and the live one. Take care.
Yes, man, of course. And how is your health? How is your health coming along?
Yeah.
How is your health coming along, my friend? I know you were a bit under the weather for some time. All right.
Yeah, I'm under the weather right now.
You're under the weather? All right, okay. Well, yes. I should be up by you sometime. There's a fella that lives not too far from you there, and he invited me for the campaign, but I was so busy He got some businessmen up in that side to, of course, assist my campaign in Laventille East movement. Let me thank all of those financial contributions that came in from wherever at this point in time. Yeah. So I was up there, in other words, but I wasn't able to get by you. I know if I had only come by you, I would have to stay the rest of the day. So I said, no, let me take that chance.
Right. Yeah.
All right, my friend.
Okay, then take care.
Yeah, same here. Yes, indeed. So people, let me get back, of course, to the prelude, the basis, the rationale. As I said, I have no brief for Kamla Prasad Bisesa, but I think we have to use our common sense in matters of that nature, because all over social media, people just running them out without, of course, analysis. So let's take it. Let's go from there. It is clear that, of course, when Kamla Prasad Bisesa said that, listen, don't come in real waters, don't come in Trinidad and Tobago's waters, because you're going to be met with, of course, expulsion. Expulsion, yes. Well, it's clear too, anybody with a modicum of common sense will know that she is not talking about the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard per se, things that they could handle, certainly. But if you have a big warship coming in from Venezuela, how stupid could you be to think that, of course, the Trinidad and Tobago don't even have a warship? There are some, of course, some Damien vessels and one or two other, some of them, their guns could hardly shoot. So you really believe that Kamla Prasad Bisesa was talking about our Navy and our Army? You really believe that? Come on. She knows she has the backing of whom? Of the United States. It's obvious. And don't tell me I don't understand what I'm talking about and it's nonsense, because I will prove you wrong. I'll prove your analysis wrong. You see, let me delay a little bit to, of course, put you in suspension. Those of you who are skeptical and believe that you could simply say that Kamla meant that the Trinidad and Tobago Navy and the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard and Trinidad and Tobago Army is going to come up against, of course, warship and, of course, all the artillery that Venezuela has. You had to be so nestled in the tomfoolery of the PNM that you'll come up with that asinine rationality that is really an irrational conclusion. You see, because I am going to show you how stupid that thought is. Let's go. Let us take Guyana. Yes. Guyana has less than 1 million people. Less than 1 million people. Let me keep you in a little more suspension. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night and welcome to the corridor.
Good evening, sir.
Same to you, my friend. Pleasant good night. Yes, go ahead. We are in you loud and clear.
I hear you in the distance. I thought somebody else you're speaking to.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I hear you say, I hear you talking, but the voice echoing, so I thought somebody else you're speaking to.
Oh, no. It's echoing. I ain't getting that sense.
This is the guy who used to live in Trin City.
All right, good. Okay.
One of your financial supporters.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for the support as well. But
I saw you on the news night before.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't like what I heard at all. I wasn't expecting that from the Prime Minister at all, boy.
Oh, all right. I hear you.
I mean, after all them years of fight, boy, all we went through on the ground report and thing, boy.
Yes. But as I said, I'm satisfied that things has panned out, and we are getting closer and closer to something that would be satisfying to both you and myself.
You know the reason why I said that, because I used to see Mikey K used to be with them on all their platform, and I mean, when I heard what you had to say, I didn't expect to hear that coming out of your mouth at all.
Yes, yes, yes.
No, boy, I feel real disappointed, boy.
Yeah.
That you saying that she told you, hey, hadn't you come earlier?
Yeah, because I had asked,
Oh,
I had inquired about senatorial positions, and she did send that. So I'll be honest, she did say that, but I didn't take it in any rejectful way, because she went on to say that since that was the case, then anybody who may be going on holidays or something like that, she will be I will be the first one of the first persons to be considered for the temporary period for which the substantive person as a senator may be out, because she wasn't aware that I was interested in senatorial position. Of course, and I said in the article as well that, of course, we learned something, and that is we ought to have been proactive after, rather than, of course, waiting, because she seemed to be someone who prefer you say what you want, and that was confirmed when she of course sent me a note afterwards saying, tell me what you would like and how you would like to contribute to the government. That is what she said in the note. And of course she said, when I was tweeting back, she said, no, take your time. No, I think we were on the phone. Take your time, give me it over the weekend. And of course, true to form, as the weekend was almost over, I did in fact submit, and now of course it is on its way to being considered. My proposals, that is, and it's something that I would have preferred to be, and would like to be, and would like to contribute. So I'm getting what I would have liked, and the contribution that I would like to make in the particular area. The details of which, of course, sometime in the future we will of course expose, but let the process go through. But I'm satisfied, as I said, as to where we are at this point in time. All right, my friend?
Well, I got to hear what you say tonight. That come to me like a drink of water in the desert.
I hear you, my friend. Oh, go by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't quench your thirst, but at least it will get you somewhere.
Yes. All right then. Well, I'm glad you are. Everybody is both satisfied now.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing that out. Yes, indeed. Yes, people. Let me reiterate. We are in an advanced stage, I should say, of course, settling what I always wanted to do for any government. In fact, I have made it clear that I would do it for free for the UNC, but never the PNM would have to pay through the teeth and maybe empty the treasury on me for me to do what I know is possible. And let me just give you a hint, because of course of my well-known disposition on these matters, treating with at-risk youths and vulnerable youths. That has been my concern, of course, and those in particular in the Laventille, Beetham, Sealots, and the East-West corridor in general, because I'll get an opportunity, all things being equal, to address these problems once and for all. And I want to say that the government will be the beneficiary of that once we can sustainably address the problems. As I say, I don't want to give much, because the details will, of course, come eventually. Right? So I thought I should continue putting the population and, of course, those who know the kind of input we would have made to rest, right, in terms of that newspaper and the statement that I would have made, saying ultimately that I'm satisfied that we are on the right path in terms of my own contribution to the government. But let's get back, of course, to the rationale or the irrationality or the nonsensicality of those persons who believe that what Kamla said was bellicose, was aggressive, was ill-advised, and I heard the experts Sunday. But you see, I keep saying that she is a person that is extremely rational, and if you are intelligent enough to follow, you would see that all of what I'm saying now, in terms of why she said what she said, was in fact the case if you would go back to the audio or the video. So, but the point I am making here now, for all of them who saying that, of course, we are no match for the Venezuelans, it's obvious she must know that. But just in case, as I said, let's make the parallel. Let's make the position very, very pellucid. And I start with, of course, the question: Guyana has less people than Trinidad and Tobago, about 700,000 to 800,000 persons. Do you expect them to have an army? They wouldn't be able to even muster up an army to beat or to, of course, challenge Trinidad army, because we have 1.5 million people and we probably have a better equipped army. But worse yet, yeah, come in there. The president of Guyana, Norford Ali, said the same thing to Venezuela. They've given up a square inch of what? Of Essequibo. And don't come there because our army will be there surveying and doing their surveillance. Why are you so stupid to believe that you say nothing about what the president of Guyana said, with a smaller army, with less equipment than Trinidad and Tobago? Why do you think that he said what he said to Venezuela? And why you think Venezuela has not overrun Guyana as yet, or entered the Essequibo with all of their might that you are saying that they have militarily? Why? Why? Ah, yes, you're thinking now. Well, continue to think. Continue to think. Because comparatively speaking, Trinidad and Tobago's army and our Coast Guard is in a better position than that of Guyana. They hardly have one. And I don't think they have one. Because they have, of course, in the northern part of that country, Atlantic coastline, and of course they are landlocked with, of course, rivers in between. Yeah, in the east and the west, and of course in the south. Let us not waste time. Don't allow people to fool you with these nonsensical and pretending, of course, that they are so sympathetic, and that, of course, they want to protect Trinidad as unpatriotic. They are irrational. Otherwise, they have to tell me why Norford Ali said what he said to Venezuela, with a less number, a smaller army, but literally only some, maybe rifles. Come on. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor. Let's not waste time with these people. Pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and all your listeners.
Yes, man.
And all the social media.
Yes, man.
And to all the contributors. Share the life. And we would like you.
Mr. Taga, we will hold on. We have another caller on this.
To put forward and reach the 40,000 and make a contribution. Anyone come first. Uncle Lennox, we had some helicopter. The PNM says it's costing too much to keep them in the hangar, to have patrol with them and to fight crime. They sell it to the dead at night. We had 12 Damien vessels. And I would like to let your listeners understand, those Damien vessels, although big in size, they could have come into the shoreline up to 6 feet of water. That meaning you're on the actual shore. So you can see anybody who's running on land, whether they disembark off a pirogue. That was the effectiveness of the Damien vessels and the capability. They could have moved in shallow water. So
yeah, but
not
PNM
like the
want
other day.
OPVs that could only stay in the ocean, in deep waters. But go ahead, go ahead.
Right. And now, that is the real effect of the Damien vessels on them. And because as a coastline, we saw on an island, we have places where small pirogue will go and in shallow water, the Damien could have go behind them. So they rack up that and they pack it up.
Yeah.
We had a big vessel. They say he's worthy and with a nice gun on it, it's a worthy. Stuart Young and Rowley going down in Australia. And they say they're going to buy new vessel because for the last 10 years, the cohorts and the supporters bandying about that we cancel OPVs and this was such a good thing and they could protect the borders. So he buy 2 cutlass right down in Australia. But the 2 cutlass he buy, he give Faris Arawi to make all them these deals. That's not the first topic. I straight, that's tell you where the cutlass go. He ride on it for 3 days out at sea. Nobody else say he say he went to Tobago, but Tobago didn't say they never see the boat. But it was outside in the sea for 3 days. I just reminding your listeners, you know. Right? Now, check how much money they spend for them cutlass on them. Right? Now, for the last 10 years, we border in the southwestern district, going around to the southeast side, was vulnerable and is vulnerable. The PNM and Stuart Young never see any urgency in putting the military on land to curb these things. So the point I get it at is that our apparatus was more than Guyana have. And we are a sovereign state, Rowley say, quoting Keith Rowley. Because when the Americans say they're coming in Trinidad to go and they will defend Guyana as a base, Rowley said he's keeping out our people business. But look how sad it is, eh? The PNM lost election, Rowley run from the leadership, but like he take the sovereignty at Trinidad and he go on with it. Because our political leader, Ms. Kamla Isesa, like she ain't in charge of the sovereignty of this country again. Rowley have it. But Rowley aim at the sovereignty of the PNM supporters. So Uncle Lennox, I want to tell our good visitors, the Venezuelan citizens and them, Maduro is making it bad for all you. When now the government will leave no alternative to check all your the spot for their registration. And then all will have to wait now until the new one come about to be in this country. And I want all to know the law. When all make a child in Trinidad, that don't guarantee state a citizenship is based off birth. If a Trinidadian is the father of the child, that means the father name on the birth paper are national of Trinidad. That don't give the rights. All behave on themselves and talk to Maduro. Because Maduro have all running in the first place. Rowley opened up for you to make this country this the way it is today, and now they want to rule from behind after the government. So I want Maduro and a bunch of people, just remember, it have a borderline, it have an economic zone, and an international water. Play mad.
Thank you very much for that marvelous contribution, my friend, in terms of history and in terms of some of the elements that we must consider. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Yes, go ahead, loud and clear.
All right. The first thing I want to say before I make a contribution.
Yeah.
The father of the nation, Eric Williams.
Uh-huh.
never cared much for Venezuela. He didn't like them at all.
Right.
You might know, he never had no dealing with them. He didn't like them. He didn't like them.
Okay.
No other prime minister in this country would never deal with them.
All right.
Manning, Rowley, and then decide to go and deal with him. I'm not like he campaigning for them. If you know, all of a sudden, you know, we had terrorists want to come over there and do something. So he have no permission for that.
Right.
Right? A handful of men could come there and do something.
Yes.
What do you think when Donald Trump and them ready for you? What's your position ready? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to even Trump and them ready for you, Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you this. You remember a pirogue out in the waters and the coast guard blew it away? And blew up a baby head?
Yes, yes, I remember that. And there was a big hullabaloo, both in Venezuela and here in Trinidad. Mm-hmm.
Right. And what you will say you wanted information on that.
Yes.
You never know what come out of that. So if a big boat come there and line up outside the waters, and they use the boat on and say, identify yourself. And you don't identify yourself. And the coast guard, they go at that. What's the big deal? How is all this stupidness people talking about if America attack Venezuela, they will attack Trinidad? How that come into this thing?
I don't know the logic, but we will get there. I have not completed my analysis of this situation, but I'm sure people are now rethinking their position, having, of course, introduced Guyana into the matrix, so to speak. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, the next thing, Rowdy Ballin, there is madness for Kamla talking.
Yes.
Right?
Let me
Many event and support Green Guyana.
Pleasant good night, Miss Santa Cruz. Just hold on. I have Mr. Tagarigo. He's winding up now.
No problem, Lennox. No problem.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Tagarigo. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, Rowdy went and support Green Guyana before the election results. And Granger lose. What would you expect? You and Opanadi will find favor with you.
Yeah.
That's not madness, so.
No, madness for Rowley is always the other person, you know, is never him. But of course, that is the classic madman conduct. You see, because a madman sign up in front of St. Anne's Hospital, doing all kind of antics. He will watch all the passengers in the vehicles passing, and somebody pedestrian and say, "It's not me, mad, you know, it's all you." Well, it is happening with Rowley as well. So you know, it's a classic case of madness.
You use that stage, right?
Yeah, use that stage. You see, it's more than that. I remember I said that it may well be why Stuart Young was bellowing out, and of course coming out early when, of course, the Dragon deal was squashed or crashed. He was saying that is a mistake, etc. That is because I believe that they may put a bounty on two of them head because they made certain commitment, and therefore it cannot now be fulfilled, and maybe money in this case would have passed, or gold bullions, and here it is, they can't deliver, so they're talking for the supper.
But here, I figure out this thing, I figure out what you will.
Yeah.
Campaigning for them. Because they may have no leg to stand up on, you know.
Yeah. Well, we will see that in the next few yeah. In the next few years, we'll see.
They want Kamla to stand up. All these wanted opposition totally against Maduro.
Yeah.
To come now and side with Maduro. But they take Kamla for damn pull on.
Well, all right, my friend. We have another caller.
Right?
Yeah.
We go talk.
Yeah, we'll talk, yes. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Santa Cruz.
Lennox, good night to you and to everybody out there.
Good night to you as well.
Lennox,
yes.
You know you're my friend.
Yes.
You know we have your back.
Yes.
And I'm begging you, please, be very, very careful. I warned you during this week, right? And I'm going to ask you again, be very, very careful when you are being interviewed by people, especially Akash Samaru. Lennox, it is very, very clear that this PNM media does not have this government interest at heart. We can see it, we can hear it, and the mischief and the bacchanal have started. That what they print and whatever is being blown out of proportion. They are looking to poke holes in everything. They are looking for kings in this government armor. Let us don't give them anything. Let us don't give them ammunition, right? Let them run them out how much they want. All who want to run them out on Kamla government, let them go right ahead. Kamla will run her business, right? And I want to ask a question tonight. How many leaders does the PNM have? I thought the PNM was such an
organized, well structured and stable institution of long standing, of longevity. Hogwash and old talk. Go ahead.
Right, because that's the impression that is give Lennox,
yes,
that they're institution of towing the line and whatnot and whatnot. Now you have all of them talking, and where we big belly penny. Where is she? But I understand tonight she has some meeting in Arima to bring back the love. What love, Lennox?
And the fact you could say
PNM
bring back.
Is not
the
known
fact,
for loving anybody.
Let me show you the terms. Bring back, rebuild, resettle, call back. All of that shows that you were in an imploded and exploded situation, and that you were decimated, and that you were fragmented. It has nothing to do with solidarity and unification, etc., that was being spouted out when they were in government. It was just a facade. It was just a show. It was just histrionics and theatrics. That is what that was about. It was merely illusions and delusion. And of course, we have found them out after the 28th of April. They exposing their true selves. Go ahead. They are fragmented, and any port for a storm, and many Zandolis living in the same hole. Go ahead.
Yes, Lennox, and you have Paris making statements about 15,000 CPEP workers going home.
Yes.
You see, Lennox, and they have the media, right? They have the PNM media pushing the propaganda as well.
Yes.
But the PNM media is not talking about the fact, right, that the all the contracts that were signed on the day of the election, but they only are pushing the PNM agenda, right? That is why, Lennox, we must not give them food for thought. We must not even give them the time of day. Right? Whatever Mrs. Prasad said at that press conference, let them go with it. And people have nothing again to tell them. They're going to take statements now from Stuart Young. Look who Rowley, Maduro good partner, and Amory Brown, who was a failed foreign affairs minister. Everybody want to put them out in UNC business. Now you have Marsha Walker talking about what? It's not Wayne Sturge should have made no statement. It should have been the foreign affairs minister. But Lennox, isn't Wayne Sturge the defense minister? He's supposed to be protecting the country and the borders.
But that person doesn't have any moral, ethical, locus standi or legal position to say who in the government must say what and when and how.
Yeah.
I mean, hold your tail, you fast and out of place.
Tail, I agree with it, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. That's what you have to tell them.
Lennox.
Yeah.
Before I go you see, Maduro thought that he could intimidate Kamla, but that's the mistake he made. And she already said it. She already laid out for them. Don't test her. And that goes for Maduro as well. Lennox, thanks a lot and have a good night.
Same to you, my dear. Same to you. Thank you for, of course. That was our external correspondent, Miss Santa Cruz. Your temperamental, of course, unleashed what I in fact said and what I wanted to comment on our Friday press conference. I want to thank you as well for the admonition that, of course, one has to be careful with, of course, obviously, and but I consider to be relentless 1% media. And but the fact of the matter is we have to engage them because we have a situation where the propaganda machinery of the PNM is nestled, is part and parcel of the outreach of the 1% media houses, and therefore we have to get our messages through there as muffled as they will try to make it look. But when we have live and other fora, and like this, we are able, of course, to correct the misinformation and disinformation. This is what they have not catered for. And we are going to use it to all effect. Yes, I am going to call the Newsday. I am going to call the Guardian. I am going to talk to the TV6 and CNC3 in the future. But then I will get back here when they would have misrepresent. And, of course, treat with it in a most, what I consider to be, aggressive and bellicose way. But a pleasant good night. Go ahead, my friend.
Good night, Mr. Lennox, and good night to everybody who's on the live.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Lennox, listener.
Hey.
You know, in that before when anti-cams make that statement.
Yes.
Right? Because of the statement the Venezuelan authority made.
Right.
You know, what was really clear, I mean, anybody with any kind of sense can know that Auntie Kamla wouldn't make a statement like that unless she absolutely sure that she would have backing from the United States of America.
No,
I mean, anybody can read between the lines because she wouldn't come
trolls
out and talk that kind of
those trolls and them can't think that far. The trolls and them can't think that far. The lack of common sense. Right. Common sense is not as common as one would think in Trinidad, and of course among the PNM sycophants and apologists. But go ahead.
Yeah, and the next thing I see this bald-headed, ugly, big-nosed man jump out. He and his sidekick. You understand?
It's an opportunity.
Two miserable failures.
Yeah, is an opportunistic one, but of course one nestled failure because it has failed. He spit in the sky and it fall in the face. I hope that spit was laced with acid.
I'm going to laugh, you know. When we started out, listen, these two miserable failures that they elected in this country, that mash up this country, them should be ashamed to even come out and even utter a word in this country. But I'm hoping that the time will come when they will be charged with treason, you know. You see that?
Dog whistle and negativities. All which is to try to call out the government to know prematurely their fate. Well, prematurely is the operating word. You will know you will not yet know your fate, Rowley or Alrari or Young, because it is now premature. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, because I see Alrari was trying to bring her 1990 back in Trinidad again. But the whole thing about it is, other than Bamsi clapping like a church service, because I like how Auntie Kamla operating, she like that know nothing was going on. She think quiet, and when she ready, she go boss the mark and all of them.
That's right. That is the common sense, logical corollary or outcome that will have. But they can't take that, so they go on in front. You know, it's like aggression being the best form of defense. Well, they are attempting that, but not a Lavantillian, not a Bitamnian, not a Silotsian, not a East Port of Spainian will, of course, when they call, they will see none of them behind them but themselves walking towards blue lights and silver bracelets.
That's right. God bless, brother.
Yes, Same to you. Let me go quickly, of course, before more calls come. Let me invite, of course, my colleague to, of course, the set at this point in time. But let me conclude. Let me conclude, because I think by now, since no one has challenged what I was saying earlier in terms of making reference to making reference to Guyana, nobody has challenged that, because clearly, right. Clearly, everybody see that it is an asinine, dotish, puerile, a simpleton could come up with such a illogical conclusion. Wonder that she made the statement and threatening. And of course, we don't have a worship, etc. You damn fools, plural. You damn fools. It is clear that she made the statement with the backing, as one caller rightly said, with the approbation, with the approval, with the agreement, knowing full well that there are legal relations with the United States for protection. It is against that, even though, of course, some may simplistically suggest that is some kind of Coast Guard vessel from Trinidad will blow something out of the water. You have to be a double backside to, of course, take that kind of position. Oh boy, you see, I'm finished yet on another call, but this is the rule. We have to go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Mr. Lennox, good night.
Good night to you, my friend.
Well, Mr. Lennox, you said nobody had challenged you. Well, I will challenge.
Go ahead, man.
Mr. Lennox, everybody in the Caribbean, Guyana, everybody is covered under the United States. That's the thing they sign with, right? Anything that will take place, any threat coming from any of Venezuela especially, will be dealt swiftly, right? I know that. Because they're saying how they have no battleship out there, but guess what? It does not show, and I ain't gonna say that. It's right under the water right there. Right? That's what I know in Mr. Lennox. Remember, I have family in a different place. Right? They're right on there. And they know everything.
Right.
According to what Miss Kamla was said, a lot of people misunderstand what she said, that anybody coming to Trinidad waters and coming with arms and coming to harm anybody will deal with them swiftly, deadly force. Okay, that's fine. Anybody coming to the United States in their water and coming, they say the same thing. If you are coming there for some kind of problem, they will deal with you with deadly force. Right? And that is the message was sent out to the Coast Guard and the Navy. So, how the Navy work, Mr. Lennox? They surround the Caribbean, they surround the water Atlantic Ocean. They know what's going on. And at this threat, what Mandora make, they are on alert of that. He will dare not go over there and do anybody harm across it, because you know what's coming after that. Right? So some people in the chat today, who a guy, I think I said the video for you, was saying that Kamla should not say that because you all don't have any kind of military backup, even with warship or whatever. I explained to tell him, listen, she knows that. She's not a fool to make them kind of accusation, to say them kind of statement. right? And what she said, it meant what she said, but it come from a different source. I don't know who she talked to or who there was she talked to. I ain't calling name. Right? So that is what she said. It said because they have her back. And why Raleigh should come out and say they should have democratic discussion with Maduro for what? We have $25 million on his head. And if he want to make that move, we will allow him to do it. That's the time we will catch him. So he will do that. He knows he stand his grounds. Does that make it clear, Mr. Lennox?
Oh yes, right. Indeed. Well, you are actually uttering what, of course, is the result of the application of common sense. Really, a person who says otherwise, that Trinidad and Tobago's military assets will be deployed in such expedition or incursion, it had to be a total, what I consider be buffoon.
Right, Mr. Long. So, that I have to make that clear because we had a very bad conversation with that guy on the chat. But not with you, but I don't know where the PNM troll come out from. I don't know him on social media. He just come on and saying all the thing about Kamla, and I have to put him in his place.
Yeah. Well, of course, as I like to say, if he was speaking, he would have been talking simply because he has a huge orifice in the lower part of his face, called a mouth. All right, thanks very much.
All right, Mr. Lennox.
I see somebody trying to get in here. And let me just cut this off and let's get it on the system. All right, call back so we can get you on the system. You're coming on the phone, and there's a challenge there. But quickly, I think the message and the essence of it, I think, was well received. That when we made the comparison with Guyana, then of course is Ofad Ali a greater fool? He should make that, and he had nothing at all. He must be only a canoes. But Kamla has a little more than that. But she should make that statement. Haul all your tails. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and your seated guests. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good night.
Uncle Lennox.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yes.
Part 2 now. Listen to this one, right?
Yeah.
It had a boat pass through the water between Trinidad and Tobago. Wreck. Cause an oil spill. Pollution.
Right.
The hit and run and the drive away. The police make arrests in Ghana, somewhere down in the African continent. A commissioner of police lost the work. But here what's going on now, the cream of the crop is Venezuela could not track that vessel and where it went. But they could see that it had people leaving Trinidad and coming into Venezuela to cause a disruption. So I want somebody who is listening to this show to explain that. So the next one, I wonder if it really tell Maduro that he didn't sit on the sofa. It's only bundles and them lie down on the sofa. He didn't sit on the sofa when Trump tell him to bring the sofa agreement. So he's telling Trump now, I'm telling Maduro now, hey, I didn't sign it now. You could attempt to go in the country here, boy, and see. I wonder if it's that, to see without the sofa agreement. So that's one the critics and them to know that is Keith Rowley had to keep with a mandatory agreement to sign that agreement to giving the United States military personnel the diplomatic immunity if they discharge firearms or explosive and it harm any human being. So the nice thing about it, that is Rowley signed that agreement. So that is one. So you see the critics. So I just ask you, Uncle Lennox, is it that Faris Arawi them feel that if Maduro disrupt this country, they'll go back to the polls and topple the government and they'll get back in power? That is asking from a friend from Venezuela.
No, man, that is a fair assumption. That's a fair position to take, because clearly all what they are clearly mission on is that to disrupt and to, of course, make the place ungovernable. You heard it from Al-Rawi's statements that, of course, massive, not petroleum workers, not workers from Angostura, not workers from Unicut, not workers from Pripdeco and Nipdec, etc., but CPEP and URP. Why you think they target that? Because they know of the sensitivity and what I consider to be the impoverished nature of those beneficiaries who rely on these programs. And we're going to be talking about it pretty soon to make people see that 10 days for the year maximum is not a sustenance of a human being make. Understand that? It's not. It's more psychological. So they are exploiting the psychology of offering CPEP and URP and to make the people believe that it's something that you will be missing. But I'm not saying that it ought not to be sustained. I'm not saying that you should dismantle it, in other words. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it should continue, but I'm saying you, the beneficiary, must not make it the central or the centripetal reason for surviving a whole 12 months, which comprises a year. That's the point I am making. Go ahead,
So,
caller.
Uncle Lennox,
Yes.
so with your discussion there now, I will tell your friend next door to you. You see the press conference Uncle Lennox had yesterday? That is why the media and the political entities of the past, the agent is fighting him down. And they'll push him aside because they know if they lost that authority to Uncle Lennox stepping in to serve the people when they most need it, they will lose the hold on the citizens in that area. So you see why they use mischief to get the way. Have a pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox. I would
Thank
like
you
to
very
hear
much.
your
Thank you very much for that brief analysis in so far as that press conference is concerned. We will be given an analysis. That's why my friend is here. He was part and parcel of it. But let me just conclude again to show how irrational, how dotish, how rock-headed, how broken-headed, how destructive-headed these people are, and that of course they lack the moral, ethical, and common sense ability to, of course, try to sway common sense people otherwise. Once again, let me make the point. Is it Norford Ali, the president of Guyana? Is he mad? Is he insane? Is he stupid? Is he dunderhead? Is he an individual who, of course, is saturated with power and therefore delusional and illusional? You see, as I said, Guyana has just about 700 or 800,000 people. And they could hardly have what you call an army, even though, of course, they have some people parading as that. They don't have any assets, but of course, the normal guns are that, is common to any country such as Grenada, St. Vincent, and so on. That's the point I'm making. See, I'm being very meticulous here, but comparative, so that your argument that Kamla Prasad said the wrong thing has collapsed or would collapse. Is he mad? He told the same thing, if not worse, to Venezuela. Don't touch an inch of the Essequibo. Otherwise, of course, the retaliation will be with brute force, with deadly force. That's what he told them. And he has what you can hardly call an army. Where am I going with this? Let us, of course, first hear from this caller before I give you my conclusion. A pleasant good night.
Yeah, Lennox Smith, a pleasant good night to you and your co-host.
Yes, man.
And everybody on the live, a pleasant good night. Lennox,
hey.
I want to take this thing from a simple point of view, right? Now, Venezuela is saying that insurgents leave Trinidad to come to Venezuela, and it's both Trinidadians and Colombians, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying that they want to destabilize Grenada. Lennox Smith, who it is benefiting in Trinidad to destabilize Venezuela? That one. And two, the person who Maduro name and saying that he confessed that he was a part of wherever it is the city was with in Venezuela. How come none of the family members in Trinidad and Tobago reach out to this government and the individual in Venezuela? How come they ain't here to call Trinidad to let Trinidad know that yes, I've been captured by so in Venezuela? How come none of these communication can be established here? Lennox Smith?
Yep. Go ahead, man.
This thing ain't making sense from the beginning. This thing not making sense. Because up to now we can't see our face at this person who it is they say they capture from Trinidad. Who is this person really? We need our face. I don't know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, of course, this caller has inadvertently preempted my conclusion on this matter. But let's go to the line. We have no choice. Our pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome
pleasant good night, my brother.
Good night.
How are you? I miss you Friday night.
I hear you.
So I said you might get called and it's called party, football or something. So all things.
That goes without saying. I'm refreshed and I'm bubbling with enthusiasm.
Oh my gosh. So you have any good news to us here? Where you have published, because I read the papers, the Guardian, the Express.
Yes, quite a lot. But I'll leave it for the latter part of the program.
Okay, my brother.
Just listen.
I just calling you to tell you look all and listening.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. But let me. This is an elongated conclusion because for the past 15 minutes I tried to conclude this thing and I'm only getting calls. So let me quickly conclude. The last caller on the subject, of course, from Point 14, asked about the story itself that gave rise ultimately to Kamla Prasad Bissessa saying what she said. The point I am making is, as we have established, the bellicose language and the threat came from Venezuela first. The same thing happened with Guyana. Why am I using Guyana? Because I want to tell you that in Kamla Prasad Bissasa's reasoning for, of course, saying what she said that is we just call it in criminology, the modus operandi, the mode of operation of the individual. In other words, it is idiosyncratic of this man. That's the way he operates. It is idiosyncratic. So he will concoct a story. You know what I say Maduro will concoct a story, then of course utilize to make it manifest, will utilize of course his cohorts or who he controls in Venezuela, whether it be the army, whether it be the law enforcement agencies, as the case may be. And then, of course, get some people who may not at all be connected to what he has concocted, but of course, just to manifest an illusion, a concoction. He then, of course, spew it across the border. In the case of Guyana, across the Essequibo, and in the case of Trinidad, of course, across the what? The Gulf of Paria. That is what is normal. So Kamla Prasad Bissasa said it. She said that is the first stage of aggression. And so it invited, because he realized that what she said was on the button, and because she said without fear of contradiction or with a high degree of certainty, she said that of course no one could bring a wedge or pelt a wedge or of course insert a wedge between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago's government. You must know that she is talking with the force of the United States government, and just in case you don't know, it's the richest country in the world. It is the most powerful country in the world militarily and economically, and of course it is in the Western Hemisphere. Yes, indeed, south of Canada and north of Mexico. Understand that. And of course, its landmass stretches from, of course, in the east, the Atlantic Ocean, to the Pacific Ocean in the west. That's not waste time. We know. So therefore, the pattern of behavior, the modus operandi, is what she was concerned about, and that therefore she tell him as it is, in order to preempt and to make him know that of course she understands his modus operandi, his method of operation. In other words, that which is idiosyncratic of him, and therefore she said to him in uncertain terms, you make any incursion on the territory, whether oceanic, or put another way, whether it be sea or whether it be marine and land, it will be met with deadly force. Take that in your pipe and smoke it, you dunderheads. You dunce. Otherwise, you'll have to tell me what Guyana has and making the same statements. Hollow your tails. That is a PNM agenda, and we must mash it up for what it is, like chili baby. A pleasant good night, my friend.
Pleasant good night.
Make your introduction. Sorry for the delay.
Yes. My political leader, my comrade, Lennox Smith, and pleasant good night to my leader of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamla Prasad, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and also a member of a party who's sitting in the house. You know, I can't call everybody name.
You like to make half of your face out of the thing, eh?
Everybody name.
Lean on this side, so, gosh, man. Yes.
Where I have
what you want
to say right now.
Yeah.
Now, if America in the Caribbean intercept so much boats crying jugs, only listen to this carefully, yeah? So much boat crying jugs in the Caribbean coming from one of the countries, I wouldn't want to call him as Venezuela, crying jugs out of the Caribbean waters. So why America, with the technology, didn't intercept this boat who crying so much gun? That number two. You understand? And why Maduro looking to fight this kind of war with Trinidad and Tobago? It make no sense. As my comrade said, hogwash. Because at the end of the day, we interfere in nobody. So just so you might want the whole of the Caribbean, only the whole of the Caribbean is yours. Not Trinidad alone, not Guyana alone, the whole of the Caribbean, because we're coming up in a line. So everything is yours. Everything is yours. But at the end of the day, now, Trinidad and Tobago, so much thing Venezuela do with the military. They take we boats, they sink we boat, they kill we the crew members, they cry we, they chop off we head, they cut we up, they do we all kind of wickedness. And PNM government ain't answer. Maduro ain't answer. Nobody ain't answer to them people and them who die. Who family miss them, who miss the boat. No. One of the incidents they say happened is a big lie. You want to make war? Make war. Because at the end of the day, same like how you are allies, we are allies too. And love we. Because at the end of the day, you just creating things. And Mr. Manning and his team, they never defend them people and them in Trinidad and Tobago was crucified. I talk about dread killing live. You've seen it on the phone. Dread. And Manning and them and the government never reply. But no, all they want to sit down in all their seat and say no. My leader, Kamla Prasad, ain't supposed to come to say what she said to defend Trinidad and Tobago. All the wicked. Who you want to do it then? You want your party we don't kick out it with? All of us never doing it. No, it has somebody standing up for Trinidad and Tobago. All they want to say, she's supposed to say that, and she's supposed to, she right to say that because she knows she backends. And don't watch her backing alone, it tired us. You understand me? It tired us because at the end of the day, all they don't follow the history of Trinidad and Tobago as the last regime supposed to know better than that. So when they're blabbering them out, follow the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Watch the people and them we are stipulated with all these years and going down with as brothers. Now, I watching this thing, that's why we always talk on this program, we always talk because we know this is coming in. My government, watch the borders.
I said, of course, let's go straight to the lines. We'll get back in a while. Of course, don't forget, of course, at the bottom of the program, we will, of course, be talking about the press conference that was held yesterday. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, your brother Khaled here.
Hey, man. How are you going?
Your brother good, man.
Yes.
You see, you know the thing is, the PNM have started it. I thought they might have waited for a little while, but I misunderstand that. I underrated them.
Yeah.
It
has to be that there's plenty cocoa in the sun. Plenty cocoa in the sun.
The thing with Venezuela and all that, that is just they're trying to undermine because they know that people will attack them. But I have nothing to worry about. She just needs to stay focused. And you're handling it right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Coming from you, Dr. Khaled, I think is a commendation of exceptional value.
Yeah. Because finally, before I go, because you see, this time here, he will be doing so much positive things. And so what they're trying to do, they're trying to undermine her. Because remember, Lennox, people were saying that she would never become Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago again, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
They were
well,
saying
the
that.
PNM in particular, I mean, those of us
But
who...
she proved everybody wrong, and all
Yes,
those
all the
who
naysayers.
undermine her, and all those who stood against her, all of them, she proved them wrong.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of time, and she making the right move.
So true, my friend, so true.
All right, my brother, so we'll talk again.
Yes, thanks very much for that intervention. That was, of course, Dr. Khalid, my Sunday program co-host, but he is now in the United States, so he's calling us from the United States, and of course, continue to monitor and to stay abreast with what is happening from and on the corridor transformation. He made a very important point, and I will conclude with that in terms of this particular segment that I wanted to address. Because you see, the statement made by Maduro himself, not his interior minister, Maduro himself, after Kamla Persad-Bissessar said what she said. In other words, she made them out. So the words, part of which would have been would have been his statement, is that he asked for cooling down. He asked for cooling down, but at the same time suggesting that somehow Trinidad and Tobago's government may be complicit in this alleged threat to the stability of Venezuela. Let me repeat, the word complicit is a powerful word. Because he is wondering whether or not you're backing loud because you have cocoa in the sun. That's what Maduro is saying. And therefore, it is clear that by the statement she made, not reneging in any way or not backing down in any way, but was, of course, belligerent, was voracious, and he couldn't take that. So he started to talk about the possibility that it might have been a complicit act involving the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Think carefully. Maduro said that after she said that if anybody comes into our territorial domain, they will be met with fierce force. And hear what Maduro says after. That statement, of course, was made by the original statement was made by the Interior Minister of Venezuela, among other things, saying that they will pursue these insurgents wherever they go, which would include, of course, Trinidad and Tobago. So she had to respond. But once again, Guyana's president said the same damn thing. How come Ole in saying that he mad? Rowley, let's go to the line, you brute of a beast. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night to you, Lennox, and to your guest next to you.
Yes, man.
Lennox.
Hey.
That story is just a political flatulence. You understand?
Yes.
It's just political flatulence. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You can hear it and you can smell it and it will disappear.
Flatulent, a fart.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is all Maduro posting up there. I ain't buy that story at all. It's changing up too much.
Yes.
First of all, he's saying that Trinidadian bringing a bunch of Colombians. Then after he changed up his story and says that Trinidadian come with other Trinidadians. So who is the other Trinidadians? They identify one. Who is the others? And then again, them coming through the borders on this side at Trinidad. Why they can't come through the border with Colombia? It happened this Wednesday. All about they can pass through the jungle and come there.
Land and is land. You don't have the
story making no sense.
The treacherousness of the sea water. You could put land. Yeah, land. Yes.
I feel he could cover that story from that movie, The Wild Geese, you know. They tried to invade Africa, you know. Yeah, we will jam movie. Well, this man just trying for political survival, and all you understand that?
Yes.
He just try to gear up people over there to support him. That's why he just use all this foolishness. He come
Yeah,
like
that's
this,
for domestic
this
consumption,
past,
yeah.
Yeah, he come like this past government, rallying the forces in order for them to support them. That's what he doing. But you see how Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley, all of them the same page? This story gonna die a natural death. I don't believe nothing Maduro is saying. Who the hell is he anyway? He's public enemy #1 to the Americans. You have bounty on the head. Right? And he coming out foolish talk like Trinidadian about ban a mercenary trying to go across to destabilize the country. He's the one destabilizing Venezuela. Why he people in this country for? What them doing here? If he didn't destabilize the country and have cause sanctions on this side, they coming across here, you know. Oh, I agree with the government. If you catch any of them here and they're doing any wrong, send them back too. Because it's 10 years since the last regime had them here, and it's time to start send home some of these criminals on them and some of them who doing perpetrating crime. Send them back. We had to deal with the school children in this school now, and idiots coming out here and backing and saying, what, that ain't gonna solve nothing. Gatsby Dolly, you should be ashamed. You should be the last one talking. You and Anthony Garcia, let's sit down there and watch all them schools follow into disrepair and dilapidation, and cost millions of taxpayers' dollars to go down in the drain and trying to suffer for the last 10 years. Nobody want to hear none of that, especially you guys with Dolly, Marva, all the rest of them. They could talk in that bubble for like, I ain't taking on nothing them say. And them giving advice, let them rock so yeah, that. Have a good night.
I hear you as you talk about talking a bubble. I remember, of course, the secretive cone that gets smart and his boss used to talk in, but everybody hearing except them when they're talking inside of it. So yeah, but let me finally conclude here by saying there's one you could consider it in the realm of conspiracy theory. You could say that it is conjecture, but of course I think is significant having regard to all of the circumstances surrounding this recent development. And that is, do you think that if Rowley and they were in government, such a story would have come out of Venezuela? If Rowley and they were in office, do you think that such a story would have emanated from Venezuela? In other words, do you think that such concoction, such manufacturing of such a, what I consider to be a story for invading, of course, the sovereignty or the territory of Venezuela, would it materialize? Well, I say to you, even though it is conjecture, I say to you no. Because it would have been buddy-buddy. So therefore there was no need, of course, to set up Trinidad in that way. Let me repeat. If Rowley and they were in government, no such story of invaders from Trinidad and destabilizers from Trinidad would have reached Venezuela or come out from Venezuela or responded to by either the interior minister or the president of Venezuela. Let's not waste time. No such story. So there is a reason for it, and we will deal with that after this call. There's a reason for that story. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox. How are you going? How are you going on your co-host? Pleasant good night to everyone on the line. Lennox?
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. It kind of bothers me, you know, concerning Maduro here. Is it possible that this buffoon was trying to test the Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister, to see what kind of person she is concerning that?
Yes, but I want to add. In favor of the PNM and Rowley and Stuart Young. Yes, in favor of these two fellas, because he's attempting, of course, to undermine the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Not anybody wants to undermine him. He has already undermined himself. He watching the back 24/7. He own back. Right? Maybe he probably by now have eyes behind the head. But of course, trying to get sufficient traction in Trinidad so that Rowley and they could justify some kind of what I consider to be ungovernable Trinidad and Tobago. But that and a pink donkey, none of them will see. Go ahead.
Because I say was it $1 million he trying to see if he want to get every year.
Obviously, it's obvious.
So because he lost that now, he had to try and see. Well, you know, he tried to do the thing that going out to extort money.
That's right.
The Prime
That's
Minister.
what that is all about. And when she didn't, he shocked she responded that way. A small country like us with just 1.5 million people and with a very small, innocuous army.
And I give her kudos for that.
Very low numbers of assets, military assets. And you could tell the great Venezuela, with all them assets that they have, and the people and soldiers. He is shell-shocked. That is what he is. He's shell-shocked.
David and Goliath.
Yeah,
he's shell-shocked. You know,
have all that testicular fortitude or breasticular fortitude. Yeah,
he didn't expect that. He don't expect that at all.
Right.
But what it is I keep saying, Lennox, we have to pay close a little attention. And let's say this is in a little, my opinion, and this is my belief, is that we need to send our little platoon and set up a little base in the Carcass area.
But I think that is there, you know. I think there is. I think
but I don't know if they're in an operational thing. But remember, these things have been done in a quiet mode, you know. Yes. So I guess I'm hoping that they pay attention to this and they because our citizens up there needs help.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm telling you. All right.
And as I say that, let me warn the fishermen and so on who do that for their living.
Those fishermen on there,
do not be careful and do not cross the boundary. Do not enter into Venezuelan water.
Change the dynamics. Let me have indoor fishing ponds now. Like we have the sea
change
water.
Your fishing ground altogether where you are outside and no way you could make a mistake. Yeah.
Well, let me think outside the box. How the other, I think another country was doing it. You could use the sea and farm the same fishes and them in the sea. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need to go out to fish it. You put down a fencing inside the sea itself, and you mine them inside of it.
Yeah. All that is part of the.
But I mean, I just say like something perfect, but we just trying to look for another avenue. You understand? So let me just those fellas. I mean, I'm talking about a big man.
Hey man, you didn't call me. You didn't call me after the program.
No, Lennox. I can't go online. I can't go online and tell you what to tell you thing. Right? So we gotta do this on a different timing. Right? But I ain't forget you. You don't worry yourself.
All right. No, I just say I waited. I'm waiting for your call. I didn't get it, so I'm just reminding you.
Yeah, don't worry yourself. That call will come sooner than you think, like a thief in the night.
I hear you, my friend. I love that.
All right.
I love surprises.
All right, so we will talk. All right, good night to you.
Go ahead, Mr.
You know, when the PNM was in power, all the borders was exposed. People coming in, they never put up no defense to stop the Venezuelans from coming in. Never. It was people getting killed from we country and they never put up no defense. The whole borderline was open. So why now, as my Prime Minister looking to protect the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, why only complaining? Only make this germ happen to we? No, my Prime Minister have to look to clean up this. And the protective services, because them is the only people who can clean up this mess. And send them people where they're supposed to be. All who have the right documents and all who do not have the documents, clean up this mess, because them is the same people Maduro might want to use against us. Let me face reality. Come out of the box, you know. Don't stay in the box and say, yes, we're looking to see if we could see who are good papers, come out the box. That means the same people will come in here, might be Maduro soldiers, might be some of your good friends to try to do things up to we. Because we and all, as love, as we talk so big and poor, we on the ground talking, we and all how to watch myself. Because now, we is talking facts. We talk things like this before Ms. Kamla had to reach to this conclusion.
All right. Let's go to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox. Good night.
Good night to you, my friend.
Yeah, good night. So Leo here. Now, I won't keep it too long. Lennox?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Right. So what I want to say something up here. This is something here. Now, this thing with Maduro and Trinidad, and this statement that was made by the Prime Minister, that statement that the Prime Minister made, to reach deep into it was about what Maduro said, or somebody on his side said about coming to Trinidad to get food or whatever, similar to there, coming there, long story short. But that is part of Balize's plan. That's a Rowley plan. That's all that the plan to destabilize us here. So don't think that just happened just so. You have to understand. Rowley, Maduro, and the bunch there, and the Balize is one. They are not two different. So now they are out here, they're out of office, they have no way of having any relevance. The only thing left for them to do is to try to destabilize, but that ain't gonna happen. Because one thing I can tell you, the group that Rowley has is what we call the criminal gang. They are so afraid that about a year to come, maybe before, investigation will be started into their misbehavior in public office. And that's a thing. They don't want to be part of that investigation. So I'll leave it there for tonight, but don't think that's a Maduro thing. That has no relevance. What Maduro say and who say on that side, that's a Rowley thing. You understand? So let me keep it like that. Don't get sidetracked at all. That's a role, that's a PNL thing. That's a plan. I don't have anything to mischief. And the media will go up and they'll talk about that. What we need to do is start working on a mainstream media for trying to do it, because 73 and 86 and Guardian News and Express is not no relevant. And you'll be there for tonight, good night, and you're out. And be safe.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
yes, thank you very much, of course. And I want to tell you, my friend, go to the top of the class, because you have converted my theory into, of course, because I get at least one person who is sharing a similar notion that it is a concoction that is stereotypical of Rowley. Rowley orchestrated a whole session with a university in the United States to get close to congressmen under Biden, knowing full well that Biden would have been at that university exercise where he got, of course, an honorary doctorate, but Biden too. And because of that close physical encounter, he was able to pursue his agenda when, in fact, up to that point in time, Rowley was considered to be persona non grata. In fact, the protracted time that he spent in the United States, when he went to the California, of course, conference, it was speculated that it is United States authorities that were questioning him. And because of that relationship that he was able to concoct with his friend right here in Dogo Martin, who was resigning from the university, and Rowley gave him the highest order in this country, talking about the highest award that you could get in the country, the Order of Trinidad and Tobago. He got it, and in reciprocate manner, He organized for the university and was part and parcel of that university, what I consider to be scam, to get Rowley to be close to Biden. Both Rowley and Biden got a doctorate there. And so clearly, after that, they invited him, of course, to access congressmen and so on in the United States. That, therefore, tells me the complexity of Rowley's thinking to do evil. And this seems to be another episode, another chapter in the Rowley complex evil and undermining nature, similar to the bloody emails. Similar. Let's not waste time. This has Rowley footprint in it. A pleasant good night.
I'm so happy to see you, Mr. Lennox. I don't know if you remember me, right?
Go ahead.
I was one of the people who took a picture with you on the promenade when we had the prayer, the day of prayer.
All right, yes. I think I vaguely remember, recollect, yes.
The Muslim guy.
Yes. Go ahead.
Mr. Lennox, I don't know if you realize that Rowley, he really irrelevant boy. Nobody should have a conversation concerning him. And then the other thing is, talking about fishing, if you come down by the wharf in San Fernando sometimes, right, you will see how these fishermen and them, they're so strange in a way. I don't say with respect to them, they're illiterate, because they would drag the nets right across by the wall in the sea there, in the wharf, and picking up all the baby fishes, everything. And then what the government did, the PNM government, you see down by the creek there, some of these fishes, they used to go and breed through the Oropouche River and come up by the mangrove there and breed. So when they build a big wall there now, on the other side of the highway.
Oh, they disrupt that
yes.
That spawning seasonal trek of the fish. All right, I hear you.
Yeah. So nothing can happen there again concerning fish.
Wow.
But what we suggesting to the fishermen, I used to tell them, I say, bro, when all you drag all your net close to the shore like this, tomorrow you will have nothing to catch. So, and then the other thing, Mr. Lennox, my brother have a fishing boat, right?
Right.
One other guy from Moruga, he say, call him by name, right? He say, you want to make a little money. So that's how we realize that part it's not the fishing industry again. It's the drug industry.
Drug industry. The fishing turned into drug industry, so it metamorphosized into something that is inimical to everybody, but profitable to those who are engaged once they get catch, like fish. Once they get catch like fish. So them turn into fish now because the police looking for them.
One other thing, Mr. Lennox, is that you see all the youths in Venezuela.
Yes.
When they reach like around 17, every one of them had to do some military service.
They have a conscription agenda.
Coming here and even maybe the elders also, they have, I can't remember if it's a year or two or how long they have to go and do some military service. So all of these people in reality are really military trained personnel. Have a nice one, Mr. Lennox. And your companion, you could tell us what his name is, please.
Pardon me?
You could tell us what your companion name is, please.
Oh yes, tell him. What's your name?
My name is Ricky Taylor.
Ricky Taylor. He has a Western Starboy name.
Ricky?
Ricky Taylor, yeah. So, it's all like a Western Starboy.
He looked like a Starboy. He looked something like Clint Eastwood.
You say something just out there, and something could happen to our country, And, children coming out from our school, and, we could put them in the military. We had to restructure our country so things, and when it happened, Our youth will be well trained to at any cost to defend the country and the family. You know, things like that we supposed to put in our country. And you know, then as we as Mr. Lennox have a plan, you know, the plan is just left to restore and think of when it going orchestrate. I mean, things like this might happen because at the end of the day, this is a call for we, Ms. Kamla. When we catch ourselves, we have to buy things for our protective services to defend our country. We might be able to buy big plane and thing right now, big boat, but this is something we have to think of because anybody can run through me.
I'm telling you.
Anybody can run through me and how we are slave.
I'm telling you.
And how we are slaves. So these is things, my honorable Prime Minister, we have to think about this thing very carefully. Not all them waste money, who thief money, who doesn't, and ending up by the we have nothing to defend our borders.
I'm telling you.
Nothing to defend none of our family.
Yeah.
No, these is things we have to put in consideration.
And you notice how Donald Duck Trump operates, you know, if you want to do anything for anybody, you need to give him all your resources. He is doing anything. What they want to do with my brother Ibrahim Shahori, they threatening them now.
Yeah. Because I mean, he did that to the Ukrainians. He said, well, if you want my protection, give me access to your valuable minerals. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
Same to you. Yes. All right. Let's conclude now because we are after 10 o'clock. I want to say, of course, the conversation was extremely informative. I think we ventilated. I think the caller before the last caller hit the nail on the head as to the complexity of the charade of this so-called destabilizers crew or destabilizing crew that ventured from Trinidad into Venezuela. No different, of course, to what he said with respect to Guyana. No different to what he said with respect to Colombia. So there's a pattern of behavior. And I said, as the caller rightly said, I am in agreement that sounds like a Rowley complexity. Having regard to all of the complex charade, shenanigans, and chicanery that he will engage in, and clearly this is part of his fingerprint, or his footprint, if you want to call that, in conspiracy with, of course, the Maduro regime. Having regard to his one-sidedness, he didn't care about Guaido, but he preferred to associate with a man that has, of course, a bounty on his head of over $25 million. We're talking US, yes. So understand what we're dealing with. So Rowley is still, his fingerprint is still around. And don't be surprised when he come out and say it is madness. That is just a charade. It is just a hollow expression of surprise and consternation. But in reality, don't be surprised if he is part of a conspiracy to undermine the Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the coalition of interests government. Having said that, let me conclude with this. You see, this is an article written by Akash Samaru. And of course, we know And I think Miss Santa Cruz mentioned it, but I want to be specific because it has been our experience last Friday. You see, the press conference was about three things. The most important thing I'm going to talk about secondly. But the first one was about treating with our relationship with, of course, the UNC and the coalition of interests. And if I read for you the invitation to the media, you will understand that very easily. You could comprehend that without any complexity. And what was that relationship? Well, this is the second part of it. The relationship has to do with our deep concern and disapproval of Al-Rari, and I mentioned Al-Rari at the press conference. Notice his name is nowhere here to be found. And I said that the Lavatil outreach for vertical enrichment will now be at the forefront, will now, of course, come out of the doldrums because we are taking, of course, a sedated approach in the elections. Well, we want to, of course, now decide, and we have decided, to be at the forefront because of what Al-Rari would have said. He said it on the night of the elections of the 28th of April, that of course, the new government will not last 12 months. And then he went on, of course, to say that URP workers and CPEP workers subsequently in another press conference, there will be mass layoff. Wise, of course, and against the background that the UNC said on the campaign trail that we will create 50,000 jobs. 50,000 jobs. And right here in this building, we decided after the election to do our part in that process and moving forward. That is why we were so angry and thought it was necessary to treat with that. Notice that that was a central part of our discussion and calling of the media to express our support for Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the UNC and the coalition. That was a major issue that we wanted to express to recalibrate our relationship, and in that sense we want to move forward, and we will be at the forefront to attack and to defend the Kamla Prasad Bisesa administration and of course the coalition against such excursions, such intrusions, such wicked, diabolical, evil and undermining, bordering, as far as I'm concerned, and I used the term, I said it was bordering on sedition. I used it on Friday, but instead castigating and condemning. At least if you didn't want to call the name, you could have said that the love is concerned about statements made by certain opposition elements. I could have written that for him. I could have written it for Akash Samaru. But he chose to leave it out all entirely. And while, of course, as far as I'm concerned, this is not offensive, because, of course, most of it would have been what I would have indicated in the press conference. But to focus on it alone, I think it was a disservice to calling the press conference, and the major reason for calling it was that we will defend to the hilt the coalition of interests, Kamla Prasad Bisesa as Prime Minister and the UNC. That's what we said. And we said that we are appalled that Al-Rari will make such a statement, bordering, as I said, on sedition, and for less than that. In other words, undermining and willing, of course, to incite against the government to short-term them. And we said we will have none of it. And we will continue, of course, here, there, and everywhere to defend. We not getting a position as yet was irrelevant, but it was asked and we answered because it's a fact. We want me to say that we got a position when in fact it's not so. But that is what we call them for. We call the media for. And I suspect that in other medias, it ought to have been highlighted. I will look at all the media to see whether or not any of it was recorded. And from now on, of course, in these conferences, we'll have our own media. Corridor Transformation will have its own media team there to record the entire thing and play that which the 1%ers representative will not want to play because it offends the PNM, or it calls out the PNM, or it exposes the PNM nefarious, evil, power-mongering agenda. The other item, of course, the third item that was not carried in this article either, and I think it was unfortunate, is the fact that we were celebrating our 7th anniversary of young people in these parts having their businesses in close proximity to each other. If it's not on George Street, it's on Prince Street. If it's not on Prince Street, the corner of George and Prince, and so on and so forth. One of which was closed down. And we were attempting, of course, to show that in spite of the negativities and in spite of the criticism of the young people in these parts, East Port of Spain, Laventille, Beetham, Sealands, etc., there are those who are prepared to take up the gauntlet and take up the responsibility and get involved in mainstream business. You don't want nothing better than that, because it means, therefore, that they themselves not only will be employing families and themselves, but of course employing others, and therefore contributing to the expansion of the economy, and therefore GDP and a better life and quality of life, and therefore the creation of wealth. That is what. They don't believe that people around here can do that. I have to say so from this, because if it is that you have a political agenda and you don't want to talk about Al-Rari and of course our concern as to that kind of bellicose and of course undermining and potentially seditious utterances, then certainly the young people who would have been engaged since 2019 in these 7 businesses, celebrating 70 years of that incubator entrepreneurial initiative. And mind you, all of the cameras went to the various, well, they said that it is too much, so they will only take 2. So 2 of them, I understand that somebody told me tonight that they saw something with respect, of course, to 1 or 2 of them. But the fact is, this article does not mention that at all. It demonstrates a certain kind of agenda. Because don't tell me that, all right, you want to expunge Al-Rari and the utterances and the comments that were made about him. How the hell you ain't mention those young people and the fact that they're trying to do good and they're trying to become mainstream and they're trying, of course, to help themselves? And I have a serious problem with that. If anything at all that I have serious concerns about is the fact that that was left out. So I want to tell people it's not only the Al-Rari matter, but I want to tell them, of course, the emphasis on this does us no harm. In fact, it puts us in the spotlight. And maybe, of course, it may well have the reverse effect of expediting that which is already in place, because at the end of it all, it said exactly that we are satisfied with the arrangements that are taking place, and that in not too distant future, we will have, of course, full participation, as we know best, in the present government, led by the Honorable Kamla Bisesa. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I'll call on my colleague to give his parting words, and then of course we will make our formal departure.
Now, as my comrade said just now, my leader, now, these things would highlight to the businesses in Prince Street who get real effect from the COVID come down. I is one of them. As a businessman, I get real damage from that. I write to the PNM government and they decline me to the Minister of Finance. I write to them to say if I could get some help. That's why I bring the cameras and I'm inside my business to let them know, I pay rent, I trying to survive, I thieving nobody thing, I ain't extorting nobody thing. Most thing I try to do is just to see if I could get some help to start back my business running, because I get vexed to that regime. I campaign with UNC because I realize the vision Ms. Kamla have for the businessmen and also for the population of the country. So I look out for this press conference and this thing for it to highlight the interest of the people in the Prince Street. So even the finance minister and the ministers and them would understand, even my leader and all would understand my support for the UNC government and helping us in our business. So it was really hard to see.
I want to say tomorrow we will be focusing on that. So sorry to preempt you, but of course we run out of time. So tomorrow we will emphasize our 7th anniversary, and you will understand what is happening. We will have some video for you and so on. So you ain't really miss anything, even though of course the article may wish to. But I want to say this, that I respect of course the media, and the journalist has a right to choose what area of emphasis he wishes to. But I want to say in reciprocity that we too have a right to say what ought to be highlighted, because we were the ones that called the press conference. And if we are dissatisfied, no one should vex with us. We'll continue to ask the media to support us, whether it's traditional media or otherwise. But we know too what we have to do. We will bring our own social media team to these press conferences so that what would not have been captured, because the journalists who might have come here from the traditional medias may not see it as newsworthy. Well, we would want to do that ourselves on platforms like this, the Ground Report, and other places. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And see you tomorrow, of course. Same time on a Sunday, yes, where we'll be a little more sedate, a little more. Wow. You have to be very short, because we were about to wrap up. Go ahead. Yes.
We're talking about the press conference you had?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
Boy, they're trying to make you look like a sour grape short. I watch it on 2 stations, 6 and 3.
Yeah.
And they try to make like you begging for a position, and Kamla and give you it. That's what they take out of that, you know.
Yeah, well, beautiful. That's the kind of response I like. I want people to
it's
say.
Yeah, it's a kind of a short thing on you. They're trying to make it look like, you know, you want the cup, or you get nothing, right? And you come here to beg for a position. That's what it looked to me. They really highlight not me, do they? I tell you,
other people have seen it in another way. They saw where.
Yeah, but it's mischief them on. They only put a little clip on this and a little clip on that, right? But most of the time, what I see for myself is what he was talking about with regards to you not getting a position and Kamla this and that. That's what I see, right? And then they mentioned a little piece about you backing up Kamla with this thing with Maduro, right? And a little piece of something else, we was talking about, I cannot forget. Yeah,
all right, no problem, no problem. I will take a look at it and I'll make my own
watch it
assessment.
and you'll see for yourself.
Yeah,
the majority was about you not getting a position.
Yeah, but thank you very much. Yes, all right, okay. Yeah? Yes, indeed. But thanks very much, of course, for that that intervention in response, of course, to the... But we will continue, of course, to call press conferences and let them do what they wish. We will, of course, clean up and counter, and we will, of course, make certain that we defend the present administration with everything that we have, in spite of the wishful feeling and or thinking of those who have other agenda to pursue, of course, a PNM nefarious, anti-democratic, anti-Trinidad and Tobago, and extremely hostile, treasonous conduct. Have a wonderful once again rest of the night. God bless, and we will see each other tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
About what you see. Festival is our time to get down and unwind and do the things that we love normally. People with drinks in hand, some wine and fine like sand. Make sure you understand that you can tell no one what happens in the party. Oh yeah, what happens in the party. Talk to me. Come on. So if you see Sharon wine with Stevie, oh yeah, even though she married, come on, sing it out. If people ask what went on in this fete, act like you're dumb and say you forget. I've got a case of amnesia, especially when Kim find Paul.